Hey, it's day 16. It's Thursday, and tonight I went and played in a completely different free poker league than I typically play in. But a good friend of mine and another really good poker player was going to be playing there, and wanted to catch up with him, so went ahead and went to play there. Of course, as he always reminds me, it's good practice to play with people that you don't play with regularly. Really kind of hones your skills and your reads, and I have to agree with him. I try to do that every now and then. Of course, like many of the leagues around here, there are a lot of people that play in a different ones. So there were some people that I knew, but a good amount that I didn't, and so it was a good opportunity to sort of hone some of my reads and skills. Started with three full tables. I made it down to the final table, so again, fairly happy with my performance. But a couple of good teaching experiences came out of that. One in particular I want to talk about, which obviously was bad for me. But I get involved in a hand with Queen Jack suited, kind of limped around, so I was happy to be in the big blind with that and get to see a free flop. Flop comes up Queen 10-6. I decide to just try to take the pot down at that point and go ahead and shove all in. We got one other player that I think I shoved in at that point for probably about 17, 18,000, somewhere in that range. There was a guy that had 5,000 left. Only a couple of thousand in the pot already. But again, I'm just trying to take it down and not get anybody on any draws. But he decides, yeah, what the heck, throws in the rest of his remaining chips and turns over a king 9. He's got a gut shot straight draw. Now, he does have an overcard, which helps a little bit, but really, you've got to know the odds of hitting these draws. A gut shot draw you're going to hit after the flop 17% of the time. That's like 5.8 to 1 odds. And this guy making the bet is getting about 1.5, barely 1.5 times return on his money on a bet that's going to pay off, at best 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 6 times. That's the hardest thing I think to try to explain to people is when you're going to be going after a draw, and believe me, I will chase sometimes too if the pot odds are right. If I'm getting 6 to 1, 7 to 1 on my money, and it's a 5 to 1 chance of hitting that draw, sure, I'll take a card. But this guy had absolutely no idea of what the correct move to make was, so he shoves all in, and he does catch his king. So his pair of kings beats my queens, and he's still in. A little bit later on, this guy, hand I'm not involved in. Blinds at that point are at 2,000, 4,000, and the guy right before him pushes all in for 8,000. Well, he calls the 8,000, goes around to the big blind, who's already in for 4,000, so he puts his extra 4,000 in because now his 8 plus his 4, he's getting 5 to 1 on his money. Why not? See what happens. So all that money gets pushed into the main pot in front of the guy that's all in. And the hand checks down. Both the player that called or limped in, or that 8,000, plus the big blind who limped in, they check it all the way down to the river. I understand, there's big talk about the etiquette of betting into a dry pot, but there's certainly times when it's the right thing to do. And that's probably going to be a topic for another one of these discussions. But as it turns out, the guy that made that first call, called the 8,000, he turns over his pocket kings. And the guy that was in the big blind that got to limp in for half price turns over 5-2, and he had hit 2 pair. So he ends up taking both of those pots. And I'm trying to explain at that point to this guy that limped in with his kings about how to isolate. That really, at that point, he should have pushed all in, gone heads up against the guy that was all in, and taken that pot instead of just throwing away basically that 8,000. That's one of the things that is kind of difficult for me. I know at times I say don't educate your opponents, but sometimes when I get into situations like that, I can't help myself but try to teach. So end result is, calculate those odds. Don't chase those draws unless you're getting paid out. And when you have a hand, make sure that you close it down.